Hi everyone, I'm Garrett, and you're watching Garrett's O-Gauge Trains. I'm the owner of Garrett's O-Gauge Trains on Instagram, and I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, so this is officially my very first YouTube video. Now honestly, this video couldn't have come at a more complicated time. We've been dealing with a significant water issue in the basement. When an extension was built onto the house years ago, they dug deep enough to hit a natural spring, and because of that, the basement has always been at risk of flooding. Now recently, we did a controlled flood of the basement to better understand what we're dealing with. Now during that test, the water table settled at about 9.5 inches, and based on that information, one option being considered is raising the basement floor by roughly 1 foot, which would put us safely above the water table. Now at the moment, this is still just a possibility, and we're actively looking into other solutions as well, but raising the floor is very much still on the table as a potential long-term fix. Now the good news is that the water has since been fully pumped out of the basement, and the layout is now completely operational again. Everything you see behind me, aside from any locomotives or rolling stock, stayed in place during the process, and the layout handled it exactly the way it was designed to do so. Now when I built this layout, I intentionally designed it with situations like this in mind. It would take roughly 2.5 feet of water before anything critical would be damaged, which gives us some peace of mind while we try to figure out next steps. Now because of all of this, there may be some changes coming down the road, but for now, I wanted to finally give you a proper layout tour, especially since there's so many of you on Instagram that have been asking to see it. I'll also be featured in O-Gauge Railroading magazine in the February issue. I worked closely with Alan on that feature, and we got a lot of great photos of the layout, and it'll be available both in print and online, so definitely keep an eye out for that. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and feel free to comment here on YouTube or over on Instagram. Alright, without further ado, let's get started with the layout tour. Now this section here is the most unfinished part of the layout, but it is fully functional. The track is wired and operational, it just hasn't been fully scenic yet. Now right now the ground is mostly covered in a base material, and the reason it isn't finished is because I had future plans to run the track back through the crawl space, and my hope was to eventually add about 7 staging tracks somewhere on or under the layout, as well as a turnaround loop and possibly a roundhouse and turntable. Now those are long-term plans, and with the work that may still be done in the basement, I'm not sure yet how realistic they are. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. This here is my industry area. My locomotive and some cars are on the table because I was doing some work over here and taking some videos. We have our H&H feeds from Woodland Scenics, and some cars here from MTH and Lionel, mostly milk cars I have here, as well as our ready-made trains, RMT ice cream cars. This is the switches for the 2 switches in this area in the industry, run right off the main line and one diverging next to the rail yard repair shop. Behind me now is the countryside portion of the layout. I really wanted to capture a variety of real-life environments with a more centralized town area and open countryside towards the far side of the layout. Now I'm very detail-oriented, so there are a lot of small details throughout the layout. I'm filming on my phone, so some of them may be kind of hard to see, but I'll point them out during the close-ups. Things like animals, figures, and small scenic details that really bring the scene to life. Now this backdrop actually has been featured in several Instagram posts that have received a lot of views, and I'm incredibly thankful for all the support, the likes, the comments, the shares. It really mean a lot. My wife actually painted those for me, so she's very, very talented. I was very blessed to have her help me with that portion. This is the Woodland Scenics Station, one of my favorite products from Woodland Scenics. It's right up against the main line. Our inside loop is 072 curve radius, and our outside is 081 by Atlas Trains. The farm there is also Woodland Scenics, and the field is interchangeable for different seasons, so right now I have the Christmas tree farm since we are close to Christmas. I have some bunnies here behind the post office, also a Woodland Scenics product. I'm very, very interested in wildlife and putting it on the layout because I love when people are over and they can finally point them out and see all the fine detail there. So that's the Woodland Scenics post office. And on top of the lamppost there is a vulture. Moving back to the farm. I have a little closed-in area by the side of the farm building, the barn. It has some chickens, some lambs, and pigs. One of the chickens I have that got out. If you can find that, it's right at the bottom of the screen there. And again, most of these products on my layout are from Woodland Scenics. I think they do a great job showing those things. Back to the wildlife, I have a bluebird feeder right there with some bluebirds on it and some squirrels that are ready to take some of that feed as soon as those birds fly away, or they'll scare them away themselves. Now, like I said, most of the buildings here are Woodland Scenics, but this one right here, just on the side of the field there, I did scratch build. I also scratch built this sign here as a tribute to The Office, because I really do enjoy that show. So that's Shroot Farms. We have our cows over there. And the track here. Off the main line, I have some more Woodland Scenics fencing and some deer. And then over here, I have a snake that just crossed the tracks and is making its way over to safety, slithering away from the rails there. One of my favorite pieces that I have of detail is this right here. I don't know if it'll focus or not, but it's a hummingbird eating from a hummingbird feeder. Now we're back to the road here on this same section, crosses the tracks here. It starts from off the layout. If you know the show Letterkenny, this is a little homage to Letterkenny right there with those people sitting, as well as a nod to Schitt's Creek, and that's the painting of the Rose family. Farmhouse, also from Woodland Scenics, and behind it I have a little homegrown vegetable garden. Now we're moving into the center portion of the layout, which is one of the most detailed and lively areas. In the close-ups, you'll see lightning effects in the clouds from the Broadway Limited Imports Lightning and Thunder machine. It uses synchronized LED lighting to simulate lightning flashes along with thunder sound effects. The banana stand here is a nod to Arrested Development, if you've ever seen that show. Now I have some MTH buildings here, those two on the end of the corner of the street there, as well as the station back there. I did light the station myself because I got it used, so it wasn't in the best shape. So I did light it with some Woodland Scenics products. Those there are Menards products, the coal tipple and the mine shaft number 12. The mine shaft does have movement on it. Back here is one of the most notable parts of my layout. It is the Mount Ushmore scene. It's a play on Mount Rushmore, and that's my model train group that I hang out with once a week. Here's a close-up of the street. For the street, the sidewalks, I did use foam, and I did a pen technique where I draw the lines of the cement walks there and paint it and make it look very realistic. Now, these buildings all work their way down the street. The back three buildings here at the square are also MTH buildings that I spruced up with some more Woodland Scenics lighting and some flag features there, just to give it a little bit more life and blend it into the other fabulous buildings that I have around them. So we have the theater and a tavern and the paint store. All the street lights are on a separate connection, so I actually have the ability to turn them off if I want to have different lighting here. And if you can catch the raccoon next to the trash can, that is another fun feature for people to find. The bench there that you just saw was a nod to Modern Family, Phil Dunphy, as a realtor in the area. This is obviously a moving piece here, one of my most notable animations. This was made from Tom Groff, who owned and founded the Choo Choo Barn originally before it was under new ownership, and he passed away, but that's one of his pieces that I'm really glad to have on the layout. Now in the front here, I didn't know what to do with this empty space area, so I made it more of a work area for some people, so they're doing some track maintenance and bringing some ties over, and this guy's checking the breaker box here. I don't remember where I got that figure from, but he does have a light built into him. Now over here is what I call the Strasburg area, because I love the Strasburg Railroad, so I built that station all by hand,
but the track goes along here, and it's just like the same style of Strasburg, but it does veer off into the coal area.
I also have future plans to continue the clouds across the ceiling to make the layout feel even more immersive and really pull you into the scene. I always knew I wanted a water feature on this layout, but I didn't want to use real running water. Now, while places like the Choo Choo Barn use it successfully, it requires a lot of maintenance. And at O scale, real water moves way too quickly and looks very unrealistic. So instead I used Woodland Scenic's realistic water for both the river and the waterfall, and then added subtle movement to bring it to life without overpowering the scene.
With a press of a button, I can turn on the waterfall here. And it's very, very subtle, but it's just enough to make it come to life. I have a reptile humidifier underneath the layout that blows some steam into or behind the waterfall to give it an illusion of movement and give some visual effects here. I do have the inside of the waterfall and the entire river sealed off so it won't absorb moisture or anything, so I won't have any problems down the line. We have our hobo playing a guitar underneath the bridge as he waits for another train, then he'll climb back up, but we have our main line up here. This bridge isn't the best work I've done. It's certainly just a filler for now, but it was a big, large piece of foam that I ended up carving almost with the same technique that I used for the sidewalk.
This area here is where everything comes together. This is my switchboard for all the turnouts on the layout, along with the central power hub that controls the track and several operational features when I'm running trains.
This here's my switchboard. It's very amateur. I just threw some lines on there to show where the switches are in relation to the track. This here is the power of the layout here. The Z4000 MTH transformer, the MTH remote, and the Lionel Legacy remote, and the TIU, which that sends all the signals to the trains from the remote. Now up here, this Lionel transformer here, now that runs the water tower on the track over there. Now whenever I turn on the power to that, it'll drop the arm to whatever steam locomotive I have over there. Now I do have a diesel over there right now, and there it goes. So I have a platform on either side of the tracks here where I can run 2 trains and have 2 train operations. They do come around to this side of the layout. I know it's not that far in relation to where they start, but they can do a run around there and come back to the station. Again, the station is hand built by me. I did it out of balsa wood and some paint and a lot of picture references. This is another Menards building here, the switch tower. And over here we have another reference, once again, to Psych. This is a reference to Season 2, I forget which episode, but and this here is the sign for my model train group. All of the crossing gates are functional, and they do operate through a insulated rail, so it does go down whenever the train is coming by and trips that. Completes the circuit. It was a lot of fun doing these lines here on the layout. You can kind of see I did even a trail for the tractor. I play around with. He ran out of gas and he has to go fill it up unexpectedly. I just used 2 different tones of Woodland Scenic Static Grass for that. The Stonehaven restaurant was a lot of fun to make. I wanted it to be an outdoor seating area restaurant. The signs are all handcrafted. My wife helped me with Cricut and had her print those signs. And this here is a little bit dirty of a pond, but it has some more wildlife features there, like the swans.
Now this pond is one of the most detailed areas on the entire layout, and during the close-up video I'll point out some of the incredible wildlife that gives this area a whole new level of depth.
This here is the European driver, as I like to call him, and he actually tips off the layout. I have a motor underneath that pushes the car up and down to give it the effect that he broke the fourth wall. Over here we have our church. This is actually Plasticville. I repainted it and weathered it myself. And then we have our cemetery over here. And right here on top of the tombstone is a model of a butterfly. And it is also scale. Kind of very hard to get it into focus here because of how small it is. And then we'll make our way over here. We have a little bit of a beaten path that'll lead straight to the pond. On the corner of the layout, we have some picnickers here. And that's some artista models there, hand-painted. The path goes around over here, and we have a family fishing. And the dog on the dock. The pond was a lot of fun to make because I have so many details packed into here, like these ducks, and I gave them that water trail behind them, which was fun to test. Again, I'm not very good at this right now, and this was a practice thing, but I have some frogs on lily pads and some turtles over here. If you can see them, they blend in with the rocks pretty well. And over here we have another frog sitting on the rock right here. And you might not be able to see it very well, but in that tree I have a gorgeous model of an owl. I believe it's a barn owl. Some skunks and some wildlife over here. Not just animals, but we have some mushrooms.
That pretty much concludes the layout tour. Thank you so much for watching, and I truly hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and I don't know when the next video will be or what it will be about just yet, but until then, follow me on Instagram at Garrett's O-Gauge Trains, Grand Crown Railroad for more content. And don't forget, be sure to check out O-Gauge Railroading magazine, especially the February issue, where the full layout will be featured. I'll be posting updates on Instagram as well. Now, please enjoy some train action. Thanks again for watching Garrett's O-Gauge Trains.